message reading. Okay, so I am going to go ahead and go through each month, okay, and we're going to sort of like check out what we had to learn through each of these months, okay? So first of all, I'd like to just introduce myself. Hi, hello, and welcome. If this is your first time here, I am Jaya. I am clairaudient, and I do receive various styles of channeled messages. As these different messages come about, I will be relaying them to you guys. Now, this is a timeless message. That means that it's meant for whenever you find this. And it's for your year. It's a review of your year. So if you find this and it's not the end, it's not December 31st or something, that's okay. This is still a message for you. This is for the year from the moment you're watching this video and the year that has passed. What do you have that you can gain from each of the months that have passed? We'll go ahead and go through 12 different months. And as we look through these 12 different months to see what you can gain, what there is to understand, you're going to go ahead and find different pieces of wisdom that you're going to be able to move forward. And they will help you launch you in your next year by learning what the last 12 months had to offer for you. So let's go ahead and let's start it. So what we're going to do here is I will start off. It's going to be a bit of a different kind. We'll start off with one channeled message for each of these months, okay, for each 12 months. And then we'll go into 4 different card draws for each of the months, okay? I prefer to use motivational and inspirational and empathic cards because they allow me the flexibility for what we're doing here, okay? And so we're going to use those along with channeled messages. So let's go ahead and get into flow. I was gonna say get into store. Ooh, I feel like a lot of people are starting a lot of businesses or starting a lot of different projects this year. So let's go ahead and let's get into flow and see where we go. Yes. So for the first month that we're talking about here, if you're watching this live, we're talking about January. If you're watching this any other time, we're just talking about the first month, which is 12 months away from where you're at today. And from January, I'm seeing a man that's on the phone, and there's these wires. It's so funny because he's on like a phone that's like connected. It's like a wired phone, right? And hi, yes. And so it's like a wired phone, right? And it's connected to the wall. And he has wires that are connecting from the wall to his head, which tells me a lot of people, like during this time, you may have gone through a period that month you were going through a period of a lot of draining. I'm hearing financial drains, and then others of you, it's like emotional drains. These are a lot of burdens that were happening last January. And it's talking about how, in particular, it feels like you know how we have like the lymph nodes and stuff like all throughout our body? It feels like those being tugged. It feels like that, like if somebody was tugging. So a lot of you guys were really feeling like maybe that you had a lot of pressure or a lot of strings attached to situations. There were a lot of things that you had to get done. I'm almost feeling it hard to cut loose so that way I can just have some wiggle room. It's almost like that because I'm seeing the man at the table and he can't move his head in any other direction. He's just sitting there. So many of you guys may have felt a bit restricted, which is normal, yeah. So there's a lot of lessons from that. From that, we're going to learn that in the restriction, many of you had to learn. I know that you guys had to learn something about having to wiggle out, having to feel less confined. There were times during that month that were requiring you to cut certain ties, and some had and others hadn't. So we'll go ahead and see what we can take from it, or it's a collection of what we can take from it. Crown chakra, we can take that we're supposed to listen to the messages that come to us divinely. Crown chakra, okay? So when we are guided, because that's sort of like this, like the phone, where are the lines, right? I mean, I didn't even think of it until right now, but like, where are the lines for us to be connected with the divine? They're in our crown chakra, right? Up here, we've got our pineal gland, right? But we've got it, it's all right here. What does it feel like when we get that divine essence, right? It starts at the head and it kind of comes down, right? And I was seeing behind the man's head were those strings, those wires being, like those were the trapping wires. So I feel like many of you guys were receiving a lot of divine messages, and whether or not you listen to them, the what you can learn from it is learn, oh, you know what? When I'm being told something in this way, that's me being told something from the divine. That's me being told something from my ancestors. That's me being told something. Okay? Get used to those feelings. What did you experience during the first month? Okay? What was your experiences like? And where could you have said, you know what? I know I was supposed to drop this or that, and I didn't listen, but I remember that I was thinking about it because I had this dream, or because I had this, certain thing happen, right? And write those elements down of what happened in January. And you'll learn more about how you are grounding and connecting. Many of you, this is so beautiful. That's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. Many of you guys were being talked to. You were being talked to over the last 12 months. And when you were being talked to by the divine with, especially in particular, the January or the first month, many of you guys were receiving dreams. Others of you guys, it was like, I don't know why, but I'm seeing like Starbucks. Like it could have been something as simple as that. Like you went to Starbucks one day and then you seen somebody with that certain name, and like they said a word and it stuck out to you, and you know, oh, I'm supposed to get rid of this or that, in regards to this person that I know, and so it's like little hints like that we receive, and we may not think much of them, but if we look back and we realize if we didn't listen, had we listened in that little moment, what would have we caused or been able to keep away from ourselves, right? So this is a lot of learning what those messages are, what they feel like, and how to get in tune with them. It's a really beautiful energy because you gained understanding in the first month, which we all do because we are divine and we're all part of that. And so if we're all part of that, when we receive those messages, they're messages only for our highest good, from our highest good. You see what I'm saying? We are not slave to our history. We can be freed by our conscious thoughts and disciplined habits. Yes. That's telling you guys, I don't know how to flip this. That's what I was telling you guys, that some of you guys, it was like you did listen and others of you did not listen. And so as a result, some of you may actually have the same or similar dynamics in what you have to rid yourself of this January. And it's like this, because what happens is a lesson will never pass you by. Whatever you're meant to learn, you will learn, or you will continuously go through these different situations that are very similar. And it's because it's to teach you a lesson. So if you don't get the lesson out, it'll repeat. It'll just be a different face, or it'll repeat and it's just a different circumstance. But it's like a different circumstance with the same ending of learning, the same ending of knowledge that you're supposed to be gaining, right? And with this, I feel like the January month was for you to really have that faith and to trust what the guided messages you were receiving in particular, for you to have that faith and for you to follow that faith. And to carry out the following, when you're following faith, when you're following by faith, the thing about it is that you don't just follow by faith, but you follow by faith with this with full trust that you can put disciplined habit into action, and you're going to get the fruitful outcome that you had asked for, that you're divinely being led to. So many of you guys, you were being taught, the lesson of last January had to do with being disciplined and getting rid of what sort of kept you slaved, what kept you in this encapsulating feeling. Because the man that I was seeing had he had those wires connected to the back of his head. It was like a little bit tense. This guy was tense, definitely tense. What's the lesson? What's the lesson you're supposed to learn from January? Yes, man, this is rich. It feels really beautiful. It feels beautiful. Relationships. I am attracted to those people who serve my higher good. So what the lesson was is about your relationships, is about cutting the ties that were not serving your highest good, that were not aligned with the messages that you were receiving. Okay, so had you been receiving these messages and maybe they were saying about cutting people out, or maybe they were saying about how you're supposed to be treating certain people in certain dynamics, right? Then this knowledge would apply to this. And this is talking about having to, and look at, they even have the same colors. They could have had any other colors, because I've got all kinds of other cards here with all kinds of other colors. But they have matching colors in these cards. If you notice, down to this part and this part and the outside right there. Okay, so this is all talking about the higher realm and getting in tune. As you get in tune, last year, this time, some of you did cut cords with certain people, and you really got disciplined in the messages you were receiving. In that case, you guys were learning a lot about faith, and you were learning a lot about trust, and how to intertwine that into your action, your physical action, into the daily. So daily, you were able to go, you know what? I know I'm going to get out of this. So I'm going to, I'm going to go and work over here, or I'm going to go and do this or that. Like, you were putting a lot of action into something that you divinely were told you were going to get an outcome for. Others of you that did not follow suit with it, because you kept certain relationships in your field, like in your energetic field, it clouded your relationship with the divine, and it was not allowing you to see clearly. And as a result, you did not carry out disciplined action, and you weren't able to keep up with any type of consistency with that. So some of you may have gone through that period. You went through that route, but it doesn't have to be like, oh, you went through this crazy, horrible route. Some, yes, but others did not. Others went through more of like having this tug of war between wanting to listen to the higher self and not wanting to let go of something else, right? And so That's what was going on for the last, for January. And January is of last year, it was very, very different, because I feel like so many people made like these huge shifts. They made these huge changes, and these changes are going to pave a road like we've never seen before, because it's going to be a collaborative effort for everyone to work together. And as everybody works together, everybody gets their dreams coming true and true heart fulfillment happening. Anything that's not done from the heart will not be successful. And I'm not trying to say it in a negative way, but it's true, because we're in the age of Aquarius. Ever since last December 21st, 2021, we've been in this. So so if you're watching this live or close to the live time, then we're looking at January. January was really the first month of dealing with now this shift happening all of a sudden, right? And so there was a lot of dynamics that definitely affected how you were doing things. You were called to make a change. Everyone was called to make a big change, because Age of Aquarius just hit us. And it only happens every 2,000 and 2,225 years or something like that. It's like something like that. Don't quote me, but it's like that. It's like not often, right? So that's why I'm telling you guys. You guys, we all have this shift that we had to have. And the more we resist, the more we end up having conflict within ourselves. It's like not gonna have, it's not really a problem per se, because you're just gonna go through the same dynamics. Like I told you guys, it's the same dynamics over and over again until you get the lesson. This is like, you won't miss a lesson with spirit. You won't miss a lesson. I express my creativity. My unique and creative talents and abilities flow through me and are expressed in deeply satisfying ways. My creativity is always in demand. So many of you guys over in January, during January, you guys were really being guided. Look at her head, okay? Just look at her head and look at this crown, okay? Right here, we're being shown how she is supposed to grow. She's supposed to grow in speaking with the divine. She's supposed to grow in her faith in the divine, and she's supposed to have trust, faith, and dedicated discipline into her path, which is, you could be a male or female, it doesn't matter, but that's what this is. It's so beautiful. It's such a beautiful lesson that we learn here. It's this freedom. It's a freedom. You know, we think of discipline as this, like, ooh, you have to have consistency, you have to have discipline, it's such a strict and scary thing. It's not. What it is it provides stability. It provides love. Provides self-love. It provides something that we don't often get to experience, because we've been accustomed to a different type of lifestyle where we sort of don't look at those types of things in ourselves, and we are supposed to, shun them to the back or something, right? And like, that's not what we're meant to do. We're meant to deal with things so that way we can continue to grow and change and have the courage. And how are you supposed to be that highest version of yourself if you're not willing to overcome the challenges? Yes. So we all go through it. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and go through February real quick. I'm going to go ahead and channel a quick message here. So February of this year that passed, and the second month, if you're watching any other time, I am seeing a person, and they're like behind, they're like outside of a car, and they're opening the trunk of a car, and it's like a SUV, but it's like a tiny SUV. And they're like putting like camping gear in there. And it feels like this is talking about being one with nature. This is about going on that journey. This is a journey. This is the journey. This is where the journey begins. This is where we were being called collectively to have the journey begin. And it's because we've received direction in the previous month. That's why. That's why the journey was supposed to begin. This makes so much sense. I really enjoy this right here because we're able to get a really good outline of what Age of Aquarius can bring us. Balance, 44. Balance. So everything was coming together for February. This is where circles were intertwining. New people would be coming into the circles, and people who were not accepting the previous month's lesson would be out of the circles. Of course, not everybody listens to the divine, but that's what the lesson was for. And in that, we were supposed to be able to collaborate with the proper people to be giving the proper channeling of the messages. Because right now, we're having so much change happen, especially during that time. That time was right before we had all of those planets aligned, okay? Once all the planets aligned, we had all the planets aligning with Uranus, and when that happened, it sort of amplified the Age of Aquarius, okay? So that's why it's so important for us to know exactly how we receive divine messages, how we receive divine guidance, and to not throw it, not dismiss it, because when the divine's talking to us, we are not being told something like, a parent going, and I'm saying this because I used to think this way when I was younger, or even times that I wouldn't want to see what I was supposed to see. I would say, oh yeah, you're just being cautious of me. I got this. A divine message will never be wrong, because the divine doesn't have anxiety. You see what I'm saying? We do. So here we go. There is a nobility to those who do not let neediness or desperation compromise who they are. Yes, the lesson of February, or the second month, if you guys are watching this at any time, any other point in time, the second month, we were supposed to learn about how there's so much integrity in standing in balance with who we are and what we've been told to do divinely. Honoring the divine plan and what's in your heart, that's basically the divine plan. But you'll receive divine direction through the crown chakra. That's why it was there for January. January, we were definitely being called to know how to interact with the divine. And then February, we were being called to use that knowledge to bring ourselves into balance, and to cut cords wherever we needed to cut cords, and to grow however we needed to grow. There's so much that had to happen in February to get that journey really going. There's just so much beauty in that, because this is somebody honoring who they are and not compromising it because they're in balance. When we're in balance and something comes along in our lives that throws us off balance, it's obvious. It's obvious. And it's best to not come up with excuses for why that's throwing you off. And instead, accept the world for what it is and see how that fits or doesn't fit with your plans. When we do it like that, we're not resisting, we're completely accepting, and we're able to stand firm about who we are, because we're not gonna feel like, oh, I don't know, right? We don't need to stand in that. We don't need to put up with something that compromises who we are. We can always be ourselves. The second month was teaching us about that, and we were supposed to develop new friendships through that. These new friendship dynamics are the ones that would be more in alignment with what we were being told from the previous month. The friendships would be coming in to help you, to serve you on your journey. I understand that a friend is in my life for a reason. The reason is balance, because you guys would be working together to create a collective balance in some aspect. It's a big world. So it's not like, oh, there's one network of people. No, we're supposed to have multiple networks of positive people and people who change, right? And we all change together. But synchronizing with people that are they're in the proper space as you are. So that way the synchronization can happen faster. Even if you guys are starting at a low spot, it's fine, because if you guys really resonate, the synchronization will speed up fast. That just happens naturally, and everybody will excel at this like really fast speed. It's that's why January was important for cutting cords, cutting attachments, people, places, things, habits, and incorporating disciplined and positive habits. So that way the second month would come in and you would be introduced to the proper people that keep you in balance, and you would keep yourself in balance, and you would have it with in alignment with integrity. It's a lot of beauty in that one. I like it. So precious. Okay, so then we have here, with that second month, we have, my work is deeply fulfilling. You would have created a network in the second month. The second month, you guys, some of you did create a network. You started to get plugged in with the proper people, or you at least grasped the concept that you were supposed to do it, and you started to implement that journey. You started getting the momentum going in the journey. While some of you had grasped, others of you threw it on the floor and hadn't grasped it. So that was the lesson. You can now take that lesson and use that lesson now that you know, now that you're aware. That's the purpose and the point of this, is to know what you may have missed during that month that we were collectively being told something, right? So right here we have, today I give my best to that which I do, knowing that when one experience is complete, I am led to even more fulfilling and rewarding experiences. So remember I told you about the first month where it's like you're being told of what to keep and what to get rid of, what to let go of. The second month was all about embracing the deeply fulfilling passion. It's what you were told in the first month that would be worth it. Okay, this was the divine message saying, you need to start this, or you need to do that, or you're going to feel fulfillment. There was this synchronizing understanding that you received in month 1, and month 2 you would be feeling a lot of that fulfillment, because you would be receiving those friendships that would keep you in balance and keep you aligned. Now, if you didn't listen to the second message, the second lesson of the year from the second month, that's okay. You always have now to understand and to implement, okay? But the second month, if you didn't listen to it, it did cause a bit of a rift between you and your friends and your highest purpose. So if you hadn't cut out certain people and you were having issues with it, you're having issues with trying to move forward with your stuff, then that was because of this lesson, which is following who you are and not compromising. Now, compromising doesn't always look the same for everyone. Compromising might be that you said, yeah, let's go to the movies, and you didn't want to go to the movies, right? Compromising looks so different in different people's eyes. It doesn't mean that it's this horrible thing and you didn't stick up for yourself and you're this horrible person for not sticking up. You're not. Everybody goes through those different moments. And sometimes money is involved. Sometimes careers are involved. Sometimes relationships are involved. Sometimes family dynamics are involved. There's always something like that that can really place that hurdle to make it hard for us to trust the divine and to go in that direction. But I can tell you this, like, as you go into that divinely guided direction, you won't be let down. You won't be let down. And I feel like the second month that you guys went through, the lesson that was there, it was serving for you to gain a grounding, a new solid grounding. The first month was about knowing. The second month was about grounding that energy. So now let's see, what was the lesson? The collective message, the collective lesson message for us from the third month of this last year. Okay, so I am seeing two men, and they're putting a really fancy tablecloth on a wooden table, and it's a very long table, like a very long table. And then I see it being decorated with like a lot of like crystalware, those crystalwares that, back in the day, people used to collect a lot of crystalware. And like, I'm seeing a lot of that crystalware, and it's magnificent, I want to say. And it was like, so some of you guys may have gone through a period where there was a lot of luxury, or there were many, or there was indulgences. So depending on the road you were taking at the time, you were either experiencing, because of this previous month of listening, if you had listened to February, then the third month would have been consisting of some luxuries and stuff pertaining to these new friendship dynamics, pertaining to the wish fulfillment as you're going after what you had in your heart. Okay, if you had not taken the lesson that was offered from the divine collectively for the second month, then what would have happened is you would have been indulging to avoid. It's like an avoidance, a way of avoiding the calamities that these different friendship groups that do not mix were having. Okay, because it was like the divine was probably sending you really good people that were going to help you balance yourself out, and then like also you didn't get rid of the previous people, so there was a bit of a clash. I want to say clash. I want to say it like that, clash. There was clashing. And so that's why that had happened. That had happened because some people did not get rid of that, while others had a lot of balance and a lot of fruitfulness in the third month because they had balance. But there's also everyone who experienced different things in between. Remember the lessons and go, hey, you know what? I did apply it to this, but I didn't apply it to that. And that's why that went haywire. That's why that didn't work out. You look at it in that way. Don't look at it so black and white. It's not. There's like all kinds of like reasons why certain dynamics had happened. And you got to remember, everybody has free will, not just you, right? Summer 20. So many of you, I told you, it was like the abundance that you guys were feeling, or others of you, it was like an indulgent. Because you see this dragonfly, I feel like the dragonfly is going in and going like, oh, I'm gonna go after all this stuff. And like, and I feel it in two different ways. I feel it in a way that is selfish, and I feel it in another way that's not selfish, and it's somebody who's getting their heart's desire. So it's all depending on how you may have listened to the previous lessons that were being told in the previous months. And it's all because of the age of Aquarius. Age of Aquarius happening is really setting the tone for us to change humanity and to change the world for the next 2,000 or so years. Okay, that's what it's meant to do. And in this age, we're going to gain a lot of understanding. We're supposed to have a divine connection, one that changes. And the more that you fight, the more that you're going to have a lot of problems, because things aren't the same as the age of Pisces, and it's not going to go back to the same. It's going to be something new. And if we embrace it easily, there's actually a whole lot of synchronization that's going to happen. And it's going to, I want to say, fascinate everyone. It's going to, because there's going to be a new way that we connect. We have parts of our brain that we haven't even tapped into because we've been sort of disoriented. A lot of people have been doing different types of things to suppress what is in the brain instead of dealing and growing. And so in this new age, it's about knowledge. It's about us changing that dynamic. It's about us not suppressing what we experience. It's about us learning and growing and being able to tap into different parts of our brain that we weren't able to previously. And in that aspect, in that regard, we will end up with a whole lot more of communication forms and ways that we get along with each other. It's beautiful. Any plunge into the unknown is reckless, but that's where the treasure lies. Yep. And we kept getting that one over and over and over again. So especially this last couple of months. So I would say that, hi Breezy. Yeah. I would say that this one right here is like, we have been experiencing a lot of people who are having a hard time with understanding the third month's lesson, which is going after things of the heart rather than going after indulgent behavior. You see, it's like the second month was all about learning that dynamic, right? That dynamic has been kind of difficult for all of us to grasp. And I think it's because there's so much newness. You see, this summer feels like it's like something that's so new. There's so much brand new. Like, oh, what's this? I want to see what color that is. I want to see how that grows. And in that regard, we, oh my gosh, and I'm okay. In that regard, we have way too many options. So some of you guys may have felt like you can't make a choice. Many people may have not made choices because there are too many choices. Others of you just decided that it would be hard. It would be hard for you to have a balance if you have to give up certain dynamics and add these new friendships. So some of you, it was hard. It was hard. It was hard to make the choice to get rid of certain things, certain elements of your past in order to have a balanced version of yourself. I think some people were trying to, not everybody, but some people were trying to just have that people-pleasing side show more, because not because they were people pleasers necessarily, but I think it's because they just didn't want to create a fuss, didn't want to create a problem. So instead they just went with the flow, and going with that type of flow that isn't a divine flow is one that isn't going to be fulfilling, because we're supposed to be going after our heart's passion. What are we passionate about creating, right? What are we What are we passionate about forgiving? What are we giving? What are we giving? We're born with something. You weren't born right here so that you can indulge in the whole world. You were born here because you were born to give something. You're born with something in your heart that you can give, that no one else could give the way you were supposed to give it. And with this, with the third month, a lot of people, we had like these different dynamics where some people didn't embrace their heart's passion, but rather their materialistic desires. Death. I am learning that endings are merely beginnings. Some people had people pass on. If you did, I'm sorry. And my condolences during that time, especially for you during that time and after that time, because I know that going through the process of death is not an easy thing and never goes away, but it's stuff to remember. You always remember people who have passed on and the great things that they've taught you and the ways that you were able to teach somebody else. You were able to teach them in different aspects. Now, death. I am learning that the endings are merely beginnings. When we look at this, I feel like this is the dragonfly going through, right? And when the dragonfly is going through, the dragonfly is looking through, and let's say it's an indulgent behavior. This is going through with the indulgent behavior going, oh, wow, what can I grab? I want to just grab something. I just want to grab, look at this, look at that, look at that. I'm going to take this, I'm going to take that. And then this is now going back into the same garden and going, wow, look at how much work this gardener put into it. Look at how much the bees love to pollinate these plants. Look at how strong the stems are. There's an admiration and gratitude. In this death, there's a learning of how precious life is and how precious our purpose is and other people's purpose is. So the lesson of the third month was for us to understand how fruitful we all are together and how gratitude allows us to fully feel the expression of collaborative work, because then you get to see somebody's hard work and how they put something together, and you can appreciate like what they did, and you can look at it and go, wow, man, they offer like a really cool service because like, man, they put all this effort into it. Wow. And look at how happy they are. I'm happy to take that service. And then like you offer something of value too. There was a lot of reciprocity that was meant to be learned in that third month. So these are all the lessons that we had from 2021. I think that 2021 had so many beautiful lessons for us, but we often get caught up in all of these different parts that are hard for us to go through. I open new doors to life. I rejoice in what I have, and I know that fresh new experiences are always ahead. I greet the new with open arms. I trust life to be wonderful. So this is how the third month was, how this is the final card, the fourth card for the third month. Okay. And we were supposed to learn about gifts. Okay. Look at this. Doesn't that look like a gift tag, right? We were supposed to learn how precious each other's gifts are. And we're supposed to have gratitude for one another and each other's gifts and our own gift, and honoring it and bringing it, stepping it into the world, allowing them to step into the world, allowing newness. It's like a little girl's shoe. This is allowing the newness of your heart's passion, which you were born to bring into this world, allowing that to step in. The third month is about taking steps. The first month was about awareness. The second month's about creating the collaboration and creating a balance within. And the third month was about opening those new doors and to really allow yourself to grow, to flourish. And then the third one, okay, so now that we're going on to the fourth month. So now the fourth month, I'm trying to go fast. This is me trying to be fast. But I don't want to miss anything, so that's more important than going fast. So here we go. So I'm going to go ahead and channel the fourth month. So in the 4th month, I'm seeing a father and he's holding his son, and it just keeps switching between a son and a daughter, which tells me that this is talking about the masculine and the feminine aspects within yourself. This is about yourself. It's almost like if the man is looking at himself and those dynamics in himself and their children, because they're babies, and he's holding them like this, and it's one child, but it keeps switching between being a woman or, well, not a woman, a girl or a boy, right? And so he's holding the baby like that. And when he's holding the baby, it keeps switching, and the man is like holding it far away. He's not holding him like how, when you have a baby in your hands, you want to hold, you want to maybe burp them, rub them. Oh, they're so beautiful. But like you're going like that, right? But no, the man is going like this. So this tells me that there's a fear of embracing the masculine and the feminine aspects. A lot of imbalance was in the 4th month. So in the 4th month, this makes sense because in the 4th month, I was being called to start my Facebook. And that's the month that I did my Facebook. That's the month that I started Facebook. And that's the imbalance. That's when the imbalance happened. And that's when a lot of people were going through a very tough time energetically with understanding that there's the shift happening, because the shift was happening during the 4th month. I think it's because of the last 3 months before that. The last 3 months before that was all about the collaboration. So imagine the people that were left out in the cold, the people that were like, okay, you know what, I can't be talking to so and so because they don't align with the passion. They don't align with my with my divine goals. So the people that were cutting those different cords, a lot of the other people who were getting cut felt they felt a lot of withdrawal. It's like a withdrawal from the energy of the positive people who were sort of being leeched on by these negative people. Instead of having an energetic, positive energy to drain from, now these other people had to deal with themselves. They had to deal with those emotions. They had to deal with those ways of thinking and those ways of making logic out of things. Yeah. So the 4th month, it proved to be a month of imbalance because people were changing. But that's okay, because the people who, it doesn't mean that they're bad people who leech or anything. I mean, some people are narcissistic, but even the narcissist person, I don't think that they even have a very peaceful mind. I think they have a very disturbing mind. And just as much as they put into being narcissistic, they can also be somebody who can change. But it's not our jobs to change people. People have to change themselves. So in the 4th month, the imbalance happened as people were gaining their personal power. In the last 3 months, the 4th month proved to be the month that other people sort of freaked out. Throat chakra. And so people spoke out about how they were upset about things, or other people were speaking about their inspiration in things. They were not afraid to be themselves anymore. The 4th month, the lesson was to speak up about what's in the heart. The 4th month was about fearlessly speaking from the heart. I want to say fearlessly speaking from the heart. To embrace the masculine and feminine aspects. And it seemed very foreign to the people who did not. Very foreign. Very foreign. I think it's almost like if we were on 2 different planets, but we were on the same planet. Because like some of them couldn't understand. They can't fathom the thought that they have a masculine and feminine side. And that's okay. That's okay. Because over time, they're going to see that like you change. They're going to see how other people change. And by those examples, those kinds of people can start to open up little by little in their own timing, and let it happen. They just have to happen the way they need to have it happen. But don't lower your vibration, because someone isn't ready to level up themselves. Okay? Don't ever lower your vibration, because someone else isn't ready. You just keep going, and you keep growing. Right here we have denial. Yes, I acknowledge my fear, but I replace it with the insight of awareness. So people who did not replace that with insight and awareness from the previous months, the fourth month was sort of this second round to help people get on track, to get in balance, by seeing the first round of people who were balancing themselves out. But this was happening on a global scale. So this means that there was a global shift happening energetically. And during this, the acknowledging of fear may have been something that people spoke out about. People spoke out about things, injustices, and also creative, inspirational, just feelings, because they feel happy, they feel alive. Some people were blossoming, and some people were expressing pain, and some people were expressing loss, but they were expressing. So the fourth month is about expression, and through that expression, it's sort of like this revitalization of month one, which was learning about awareness, and what awareness is, and what is it to have a connection with the divine, because we all have the ability to do that. But not everybody taps in, because we've been conditioned to not tap in. We've been conditioned to not deal with our emotions. We've been conditioned to not do those things. So as a result, we do not use more than 10% of our brain. And in that, we have so much untapped potential in the human race. And that's why it's so important to understand how you connect with the divine. Because the more you understand it, the more you can really embrace that. You can be a better version of yourself. You can understand and have more of an acceptance with the awareness. Yes. We must not lose the urgency of this moment, as it begs for us to begin something grand and important. I told you guys, this is like the second round of learning about denying our emotions, denying our path, or denying the messages that we receive. It was like a second round of okay, come on, learn. This is how we talk to the divine. This is how we receive divine direction. This is how it happens. That kind of lesson was happening again. And that it happened in January, and then it happened again in April. And a lot of people that caught on had started to speak a lot of inspiration, a lot of love into the world. Because the other people who were not catching on, who couldn't fathom the thought of change, who were just freaking out, there was going to be a calamity that would happen. And so we had people go out there and do very beautiful things, put out very beautiful videos, trying to reach people so they wouldn't freak out. So the fourth month was all about us and having the divine connection and being able to speak from the heart in a place of balance. This is understanding, this is awareness, this is I know. Okay, so not everybody was putting into action. People who had already caught on were putting into action, but the people who had not were understanding. Some of them were understanding. Others that did not catch on, or they caught on but they rejected, because I feel like the denial means, come on, second time around, you know. Like, you know, right? And so like it feels like this second time around, when it happened like that, this was divinely seen as a denial from people. So if people denied it at that point, it was a denial. It wasn't a I don't know. And so right here we have, I now go beyond other people's fears and limitations. The people who spoke out on social media, which enhanced the eyes. And they were being very unique, talking about this growth and speaking from the heart. That's why there's blue and there's green and there's red, talking about the groundedness. These people were gaining the balance and stability within their heart and their mind, because they were listening to January and continuing that for a few months. So that's, and other people, there's some people that were, you know, already like me, I was already doing a lot of this, like trying to keep balance for a while before that. And so those people were able to speak a lot more too. There's like not enough people speaking. There's just not enough people speaking. But that's okay, because that proves that there's more than enough to go around, right? So now let's look into the 5th month real quick. Let me go ahead and just get into that flow of the 5th month that we just experienced this year. I'm seeing a man and he's getting on a motorcycle, and I see like an old sports car next to it too. The old sports car is red and the motorcycle is black, but there's a stripe through both of them. The stripe on the motorcycle is gray. The stripe on it's like a Corvette or something that's next to him, is white. It's a red Corvette, white stripe down the middle. And this is talking about the purity and groundedness in the car that stays at home. This is internalizing it. And then the motorcycle is talking about how you travel on your journey. The Corvette that's right there is in particularly, it's like this, it's not going to move, it's going to stay. So that is talking about how this person is within. We were being told to be grounded and pure inside. And on the journey, as we go on the journey, we were to embody all of the lessons, which is why it was black. Black is the color of all colors. It embodies all the colors. It's a very beautiful color because it shows traces of red, traces of white, traces of every color, because that's how you make it. So it's in that richness. A lot of you guys, we were supposed to learn about going on our journey with the boldness and acceptance of self. Not wondering whether people would like it or not, or if we agreed with this group or that group. We were not supposed to be concerned about those, because we were already building those other friendships of people growing. So this tells me that the shades of black and the shade of the gray stripe between in the motorcycle, this is talking about the intertwining of people who did not understand, who were not awakening all of a sudden, and people who were awakened, clashing. I want to say clashing. I don't know why I keep being told to say clashing, but it's clashing, but it's not clashing in a bad way. It's more of like coming together, collaborating, like collaborating. Yeah, it's like collaborating. It's really beautiful. So the 4th month's about collaboration. I mean, the 5th month was about collaboration, and the 4th month was all about learning. So the 5th month's about collaborating once the 2nd batch of people learned. So the 2nd batch of people would learn, and then they started to make connections in the 5th month. This is beautiful. This is real beautiful. I like it. I like it. I like it. I like it because this makes so much sense. It makes so much sense. It makes so much sense with what's happening with the age of Aquarius and how this last month, which is the 1st month in the age of awareness, and what this would do, what we would experience. Hero 29. We had more people taking their destiny into their hands and taking their own crown and wearing it. Not everybody would be, abundance doesn't always need to be money. Abundance can be freedom. Some people didn't have their voice. They didn't use their voice. And in the 5th month, this is people using their voice because they heard someone else using their voice in the 4th month. See what I'm saying? And that standing up for yourself, I'm hearing that it changes cultures. It changes the culture. There were cultural changes happening in the world in the 5th month, particularly. And we were to learn how to collaborate and how to shift together and how to co-create together. It's really beautiful. Really beautiful. We do not need more time. We need a stronger reason to act so that we use time more effectively. Yes. So there may have been some of you who felt the rush, which I felt. I felt rushed during the 5th month. I did. Even though I was growing everything, I felt really rushed. I felt like we were not getting this information fast enough to the people who needed to hear it. I felt like that. And it felt so hurtful in my heart that I couldn't embrace it fast enough, right? That's what had happened. So some of you guys were feeling a bit like it wasn't happening fast enough. But you have to understand, divine timing works with miracles. So it's always going to happen in a way we never expect. And right here, the 5th month, we learned so much about embracing who we are. So much. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Mark. It's just collective energy, and it's beautiful. It's all of us. So here we go. We have service. I feel good when I can help others. Yes. So many of you guys, what you learned is you also learned that as you took action, which action was being required in the 5th month, the action that was taken, the action, all right, we're almost to New Year's. That's why I'm looking. I know everybody's like, oh, it's almost New Year's. So the action that was being administered from everybody who had learned was taking action and releasing those lessons into the masses, telling people about things that they've learned and how they've overcome certain challenges. And in that, in that service, in that due diligence, I want to say, there's so much healing that happened. There's so much healing that happened. So, many of you guys were learning about healing in the 5th month, or you may have even been taking healing classes or administering healing classes during the 5th month, because the 5th month is talking about how we were trying to intertwine. We were trying to intertwine what had just intertwined the previous month. Kind of like a redo. If you look at it, it's kind of like a redo of month 2, which month 2, if we look at month 1 and month 2, and we look at month 5 and month 4 and month 5, they are very similar. It's like if we were being told the same lesson and we had like a very similar result, okay? Because the first month was all about the crown chakra, understanding things, right? And the 4th month, the 4th month, the 4th month after that. So the first month was crown. The 4th month was about going beyond the fears and limitations. So it's almost like some people who were getting that first awakening that happened to the first batch in January, now happening in April, right? And then and then the 2nd month we have friendship, we have people collaborating, right? And then in the 5th month we have people doing service, doing services for one another, for helping each other to really learn how to heal, to learn how to do things, how to live in their purpose, right? It's so beautiful to see those dynamics. Very beautiful, because that means that many people were embracing the second part. They were embracing who they were. All is well in my world. Everything is working out for my highest good. Out of this situation, only good will come. I am safe. Yes, all is well in my world. So this is all is well in my world. Why is all well in our world? Because people are now doing public service. People are now helping each other. People are now growing. It was like the conscious awareness growing. It's so beautiful. It's so beautiful to feel it that way. Very beautiful, you guys. So right here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we'll have month 6. And then I'll take a break. And then we'll do month 7 through 12 afterwards. Okay, there's shotguns outside right now. Yes, because of New Year's. So this is month 6 now. Month 6. What I'm seeing here is I'm seeing a man that is sitting at he's a man, he's a grown man that's sitting in like an elementary school desk, like if he's gonna get in trouble or something, and he's like kind of like looking away, like he doesn't want to be told what to do. I'm hearing I don't want to be told what to do, and I don't want to do the test. So some people, we had an overwhelming amount maybe about this 6 month pertaining to a stubbornness in the energy. There may have been some people who learned a certain way that only wanted to teach a certain way. Other people who were not accepting the lesson at all, who were not wanting to embrace their personal fulfillment and their personal identity, their real identity of who they are, their authentic heart self of what they're supposed to give in the world. So we had a stubbornness revolving around these different dynamics. People who were stubborn in pride in how spirituality should be conducted, and people who were stubborn in not embracing who they are. But the people that were being stubborn within the spirituality dynamic, it's okay, because like I said, the divine never skips a lesson. You'll always get the same lesson, just in a different way, right? Yes, so here we go. The 6th month is about stubbornness. Here we have future 39. Future. I almost feel like these are people who are supposed to be collaborating together. That's why their hands are together, because I feel like these are hands together. And then they're both like, but I'm doing it the right way. But I'm doing it the right way. So there is a bit of clashing. I feel like that's why I was being told to say clash, because there was like a bit of a stubbornness that would happen in the 6th month. So that stubbornness is, it's okay, because that means that it made people challenge what they learned, and it made people understand that it's not about them, but it's all about the future. Do they want to embrace something that can hold a lot of value? I feel like this is like about value. It's like embracing something that can hold a lot of potential in the future, embracing a lot of energy that can show them how to shift in the future. This is almost like two people on the playing field, and one of them's trying to be a coach and the other one's trying to be a student. And I say like they're trying to be, because no one knows who's the coach or the student, because they're both learning. Everyone learned in the 6th month, and it was about learning how we can embrace a future with a new awareness. It's like somebody learning how to play football, or football, soccer, right? Or something, and they're learning for the first time, and now they're like, oh, I wasn't aware of the rules, or oh, I wasn't aware of all these different things. And now they can make a game plan, and now they can really put a lot of that into work. And that's why it shifted. You see, because the month before that, there was a bit of clashing, and then, 2 months before that was the clashing, and then the month before that was the month of blending with knowledge. But then that blending with knowledge would create resistance in that. But that's okay, because the 6th month was to prove that we can all work together. We just have to understand how these different dynamics work. Surrender. We learned how to surrender when we thought this is the way to do it. And we're learning that there's more than one way to do a task. There's more than one way to connect with the divine. There's more than one way of having different ways that we use our brain. So many people in the 6th month, the lesson was to learn how to, we were being told how to release control. I can release my need to control. Interesting. And let's see here. We have here. Okay. So there's so much release of the 6th month. Okay. Yeah. Many people were learning a lot of new dynamics of how to do things. And some people, as the networks were being created, where maybe like a collaborative network, I'm thinking network. These networks were collaborating. People were collaborating with one another to help shift, right? then like some people may have had a harder time to surrender, because that means that the way that you had everything set up, if somebody all of a sudden had pride and their pride was bigger than their purpose, then you had to think about the future. I can see that. I can see how that happened. We do not need to wait for perfect conditions. We will find perfection in progress. So everybody was to learn how to allow things to be different, allow things to not be the way that we thought it would be, or textbook style, because that's where we were trying to break out of. With the age of Aquarius, we're breaking out of textbook style. This is how it's supposed to be done. It's supposed to be going away. We're not supposed to be thinking in that way, because when we think in a very rigid term of, like, this is how things are supposed to be, that's how things can end up going in disarray, because not everything will work in one specific way. So this is the final card for this one, and then we'll go ahead and break this off. New Year's is about to happen here in the States. About 10 minutes away from New Year's. Yep, 10 minutes away from New Year's right now. Okay. I prosper wherever I turn. Yes. So, the prospering wherever you turn. We were supposed to learn the 6th month that through the differences, we could learn a new way of doing something. And in that way, in that regard, we could learn more about ourselves. And we can learn more about how we can intertwine and better help other people. I now see opportunities for abundance. See, everywhere. I am blessed and prospered. So a lot of people were able to figure out how to combine different positive aspects of themselves and others, and how we get things achieved. It's a very beautiful, beautiful message from each of these months. So just to recollect, month 1 is all about messages. It was all about messages, how we receive messages. That was the lesson for January of this year. Or if you're watching this at any other point in time, 12 months ago, you were to be learning about how you connect with the divine, how your dreams were meaning something, and maybe you didn't listen to them. You can really learn a lot by looking at times that you didn't listen to a message that you knew you were supposed to do something, and you go, wow, I should have listened. That was a divine message. That's how I receive it. And then the 2nd month was all about collaborating, about creating these new friendship dynamics, about aligning with the right people who were going to keep us in balance. Balance. So the 2nd month went into about the balance and connecting, making the right connections. The 3rd month was about great gratitude. It was like gratitude or overindulgence. So it was more about finding all of the beauty in every creation, rather than indulging in what is before us. So there was a lot of humbling that happened. And some people had been experiencing death, of course, throughout the year. And my condolences for you guys. But this was about, it really was about unleashing those gifts. It was about unleashing those gifts. So the 3rd month, we can unleash the gifts. Just look at these. They're interesting. Then the fourth month we have here is about giving those gifts into the world. So some people in the fourth month were able to be brave and speak out about this on social media or in other public displays, and or even just to the family to stick up for themselves, right? And then meanwhile we had some people who were going through denial. Then the fifth month was about it was after that we would be putting the service together, putting our gifts together and conquering with positivity. Then the sixth month was about these differences. It was about surrendering those differences. Okay? It's about surrendering the differences so that way we can prosper together. And that's what it is. I'll write it in a different summary in the bottom in the description. But I think I was going to do the other half of this after the New Year celebration, but I think I'm going to take a break and we'll continue this tomorrow night. Same channel, be here. So make sure that you like, share, subscribe mainly, and hit the bell for notifications so that way it will notify you as soon as I go live, you guys. And let's do that. Let's do it tomorrow. Tomorrow I'll do the rest. I'll do 7 through 12 to see what were we supposed to gain from this last year. Okay? That's what we'll do. Wow, I just didn't expect it to be this long. I thought it was going to be faster. But that's okay. It's all good. Spirit's in the house. Spirit talks. I just listen. So let's go ahead and get it. And thank you guys for joining me here today and being a part of my world. Thank you for allowing me to be a part of your world today. And just have a beautiful, beautiful New Year's wherever you are. And embrace who you are. You deserve to. I love you guys. And I'll see you guys tomorrow, 10 o'clock Pacific, 10 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I think maybe I should do it earlier. I'll put it on my Facebook. You guys could check me out on Jaya Reader. The official Jaya Reader page. I think I'll do it. I'll post it in here. Or I'll do like a premiere or something. We'll do something. Okay, but yes, for sure, 10 p.m. here, I will be live. For sure. I may go live sooner doing the 7 through 12 and then do the 10 having us talk about next year. I'll see how I feel and how the energy is. Thank you guys and have a fantastic day or night. I love you guys and have a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful New Year.